I was just thinking about things that we might be doing to the environment that were detrimental and which might show up in a coastal animal such as the bottlenose dolphin. And one thing that's been going on for a long time has been the chemical industry in Texas and the agricultural industry in Texas, and you have a number of major river systems that come in along the coast that are reflective of what's going on farther inland. So I always, from the first, was looking to these animals to tell us something about the environmental toxins that they might be pulling in. And there are, of course, a number of those. Some are organic, some are inorganic. And in theory, these would be excellent animals to serve as sentinels for that type of anthropogenic stress because they are, as I mentioned earlier, eating high on the food chain as we are. So in one sense, they're eating the same food that we are, and it's sort of reflective of what we're taking in when we see what the dolphin's taking in. So depending on what toxin we were looking for as to what tissues we would analyze. So we might collect liver, we might collect kidney, we might collect blubber or the fatty substance in the forehead of the dolphin because these are going to attract fat soluble compounds. And we explored it a little bit in terms of collecting the tissues, and that was not a problem so much. They were collected and frozen. As I mentioned, the problem was lack of funding in terms of being able to analyze the tissues. We had toxicologists here at A&M and in private labs that could easily run the test, but we couldn't afford them. So the answer lay in wait, in freezers because we couldn't pursue the questions that we had thought legitimate to ask, which is, to what extent is human industry causing a chemical footprint that is detrimental along the Texas coast, and to what extent could the animals that are feeding along the Texas coast, such as the bottlenose dolphin, high on the food chain, serve as canaries in the coal mine with respect to this chemical pollution. So I think it's a valid idea and certainly been pursued in different places in different parts of the world over time, but it's just very expensive, and it was too expensive for us to go beyond the infrastructure. We had an infrastructure there that could collect the animals and collect the right tissues and ask the right questions, but we didn't have the funding to take it as far as we needed to really come up with the answers, whether it be point source pollution or more general pollution. A lot of shipping traffic, a lot of dumping of ships as they come into port and that sort of thing. A lot of opportunities to legitimately ask the question, but the stranding networks are just woefully underfunded. So we didn't have the opportunity to do it like we'd like to.